Welcome to the Evolve WMMA podcast, the only top-rated women's MMA show dedicated to inspiring and motivating you, building your confidence, helping you master the path to success, and ultimately creating the life of your dreams. Listen in on conversations with world-class athletes, professional fighters, coaches, authors, thought leaders, and more as we deconstruct their best strategies for your success and happiness in life. So get ready to dismantle old, worn-out paradigms that no longer serve you or our culture. Ditch mindsets that paralyze you from reaching your dreams and discover the new path to evolve with your host, Shelley Devine, as she brings you the greatest upcoming fighters on the planet to discuss the most powerful ideas for your personal growth, achievement, and evolution.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Evolve WMMA podcast. So, my next guest has been described as an inspiration inside and outside of the cage, and his fights have been nothing short of electric. He silenced any doubters that may have been left with his Bellator 225 debut when he arm triangle choked out Corey Browning. In a pre-fight interview, he has stated, "His fans are with me through and throughout. You know, the one thing about being different and so unique is people either love you or hate you. I know to some people that sounds crazy that people hate me, but people don't like seeing people overcoming odds. They don't believe in themselves and they don't see themselves doing that. Well, this guy has definitely defied the odds against conventional thinking to what is possible. Why, you ask? Because he's done what few have. He's become a professional MMA fighter with only one hand. I'd like to welcome to the show Bellator lightweight fighter, Notorious Nick Newell. Hey Nick, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you here. You've got some big news coming up.
Yes, I certainly do. And I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, so for our listeners, I wanted to let them know, I mean, you are like the first male MMA fighter that I've had on the Evolve WMMA show. And I'm excited to have you here because you actually fit in really well with what I've been around in my entire career focusing on females. You have gone against conventional thinking. You've gone against the odds, and you know, you're here now after, God, I think I met you almost 10 plus years ago here in New England. And the funny thing about it is you were just starting out your career. And I remember you being in like this nice suit and I can't remember what promotion it was at, but I got introduced to you by a referee, I think, and you were so refined, so nice. But I think you were commentating or you were announcing at that show. Do you remember which one it was?
Victory in the city, I believe.
Yeah, and you hadn't had any fights yet.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not on the big stage, but I was active. I had been fighting for a little.
Yeah, oh, like amateur stuff. I didn't know if you were or not. Maybe wrestling.
Yeah, I think I was a little bit. I was fighting, but I was still early in my career.
Yeah. So it was kind of funny for me because I was like, I didn't know anything about you, but I was like, wow, this guy is going to be a fighter. And you were announcing and you were so refined, so just polished and everything. When you were doing that, what was the intention of like being there just to be around in the environment and get to know people? So maybe they would pick you up for a fight, or what was the intention of doing that?
I've just been involved in the sport and I have a passion for the sport. And when I went to college, I actually did a lot of broadcasting stuff and communication stuff. And I had a short period. I was working in TV and behind the scenes on the control board. So I wanted to just do in front of the camera stuff. And I'm pretty knowledgeable about the sport. And I love doing commentary. So I'm good at it. So I got the job.
And what were the odds? I think I noticed in some of your information about you that you have your college roommate was a WWE guy. I mean, was that just kind of fate, or did you know him before, or how did you two connect?
Yeah, so when I was in college, I just joined the wrestling team and I hung out with the other wrestlers, and they were friends with a former wrestler, but he quit doing college wrestling, so folk style, to do WWE style wrestling. Mm-hmm. And we used to go to shows in Long Island. His name in the WWE was Curt Hawkins. His real name's Brian Myers. And then it would be him and his tag team partner, who was Zack Ryder, who's now Matt Cardona. And we would go watch them wrestle all the time. And he ended up being with the WWE for like over 10 years and had a pretty good run there. And won some titles and stuff like that. So it was really cool to watch. And then just completely separate, I did my MMA thing. So it's just a coincidence that we were friends and roommates.
Yeah, because I was like, wow, what are the odds of that happening? You know, like you got a guy, and he got you basically, you know, you guys were watching the Ultimate Fighter show, and you were like really interested in all that stuff. What was the turning point for you to be kind of, all right, I'm going to become an MMA fighter?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I had a friend, Pete Benzavenga, and he introduced me to fighting when we were wrestling. I started wrestling because I wanted to be a WWE. I just liked it. And I was like, and this guy I lived next to was joining the wrestling team, and I was like, oh, if you're going to join, I'll join too. It sounds like fun. And my dad had encouraged me to start training earlier in my life, but I didn't want to. I wanted to play baseball. So you know, my friend Neil got me into wrestling, and then Pete introduced me to MMA for the first time, and I kind of forgot about it and just focused on wrestling. And then you know, they were watching Raw, and right after Raw was the Ultimate Fighter, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. These guys are like really serious. It would be nice to do that one day. So I started training, and you know, I kind of fell in love with it. And my friend who's in the movie, Abi Mestre, he convinced me to compete and to give it a try.
Wow, so that's really neat, because the Ultimate Fighter show, I think, brought a lot of people in New England into, you know, loving the sport and stuff. I know for me, that was the same thing for me. I mean, I had kind of a relationship with the guys from Sityodtong, Kenny Florian, and those guys were in, I think, 1, 2, 3 or whatever. So I kind of started there. I don't, which episode like kind of hooked you in? Do you remember who the fighters were that kind of, you know, got you all revved up to, you know, become who you are today?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a tough noob, they used to call everyone back in the day, but it's been so long that it's been on that I'm actually a veteran fan. Yeah. So the first fight I ever watched was Ken Shamrock versus Tito Ortiz 1.
Yeah, right.
And then I watched Ken Shamrock versus Sakuraba.
Yeah.
And that was the second fight I ever watched. I was, of course, Ken Shamrock fan from wrestling.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I started with the Ultimate Fighter. I'm like, whoa, I got to check this out.
Yeah.
And not to seem like a front runner or anything like that, but the two guys that won the first season were actually the two guys that motivated me the most. Diego, he's had his issues lately, but when he was on that show, I was like, wow, this guy takes it really serious. He works really hard, and like he like really wants this. That's like really cool to see. I got to train like that. And then I liked Forrest because I thought it was funny, and yeah. I just ended up watching the show and falling in love with it. And then I knew some people, a guy on my team had fought before, so I started training at a gym near the school, Fighting Arts Academy. And I still work with that coach. I've been all over the place. And Coach Jeremy has always had my best interest in mind. And he's featured in my upcoming film, Notorious Nick, as well. And we've had a great relationship ever since. I talked to him yesterday, I think.
Awesome. So how did this whole thing occur? You've had this, I think, 10 years of building yourself, the momentum of building yourself up as this fighter, and you're a one-handed fighter in MMA. And I mean, I remember when you started, I saw you at Cage Titans. I think I saw you at Triumph, and oh wow. And then you went on to World Series fighting and PFL. And I mean, like, it's amazing the promotions that have picked you up because of your skill, your technique, all the training, and you're hardcore guy. I've seen your fights. I'm like, holy shit. Like, you get in there and you can really scrap, and you haven't had easy fights either. You've had tough opponents, so, now you have this movie that's been made about you. Now, did they approach you because you have this great story, or was it something that you pursued and you said, you know what, I'm gonna go and write a story and tell my story? And how did this all happen?
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, I was born with one hand. So women in MMA can relate to me, because what it's like to be doubted and people not to want to give you a chance and do stuff like that. So I do have a lot of friends, female fighter friends, because of that, and facing similar obstacles. And when it came to MMA, I had my first fight in 2008, right after I was still in college. And I turned pro shortly after. The times were different, so I only spent about 1 year on the amateur circuit and turned pro in 2009. I just did what I felt was right at the time, and worked my butt off and trained really hard. And then one day people called me up and said, hey, your story's interesting. I want to make a movie. And I was like, let's do it.
So going with the actors and stuff like that, have they had you on the set? Did they need you? Like, I had some people say to me, I'm like, they should have had Nick play the part. Why do they have this dude who knows nothing about maybe MMA or whatever? Because you're good looking, you're a handsome guy, you speak and you talk, you can talk your walk, and you're not just a fighter, you're a very professional outside of the cage too.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I've never really acted before. They had me maybe this is my calling to start getting into it and start getting some roles. I was an extra on the set of Here Comes the Boom.
Yeah, I was there. I saw, I sat with that was a fun one, right?
Yeah, that was good times. And they had me read a couple lines, but Cody is a really talented actor, and he did a good job, and he did right by me with the part. And he's also a very good looking guy and a good talker. So you know what? It's a movie about me, but it's their movie to make. And if they did what they thought they needed to do to make the best product. So maybe in the future down the line, I can
get into some more acting.
Yeah, I'll play someone else in the movie.
Yeah. Now, did you have to coach Cody on any technique or anything like that?
No, I think he just studied a lot of my fights and had his coach study a lot of the fights, and they kind of worked it out, and they did a good job. The fight scenes are a lot more realistic than fight scenes that you'll see in other movies, and they did a really good job with because the preview, it looks like, wow,
they look like they're really doing it. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like it looks pretty good. The choreography or however they do, they set all that stuff up. It looks great. So that's really exciting. This film airs or premieres tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yeah. So starting at midnight, anywhere that you can rent or buy movies, you can just order it and watch it at home with your family. It's a good movie for everyone. Kids will like it, adults will like it, men, women, everyone. It's like straight across the board, great movie, and it's rewatchable too. I think people will really enjoy it.
Yeah, you're kind of right up there with like the whole Rocky thing and oh gosh, what are the Rudy and all those kind of inspirational movies. You're going to be right up there. This movie will be right up there with those. Like, I mean, it's even Cinderella Man, and I mean, there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, it's like one-handed Rocky with a better looking actor.
Yeah.
Stallone's a legend.
Well, they had to find somebody who's good looking. You're good looking. I mean, like, you're eye candy.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I remember thinking that when I first met you. I was like, geez, this kid's really good looking. He's going to go a long way. I mean, it's just the plus, everything that you have going for you. Now, who was really instrumental in inspiring you and keeping you moving forward? Is there somebody that sticks or stands out?
In my life, there's obviously a lot of key players starting early. Jim Abbott was super important to me because he was the only other one-handed person I've ever seen in my life. It wasn't like the internet or today where you see a lot of things like that. I wasn't exposed to a lot of outside factors or even I know the Paralympics were going on, but I didn't really know about it. So he was like super important going on, like in the early goings. My high school wrestling coach, in the movie, they kind of combined him with my MMA coach and Matt Schoonmaker, and he was like really pivotal because I would be like losing these wrestling matches and he would be getting mad because he thought I could have won, and like he believed in me before I believed in myself.
Right.
So that was really good. Obviously, Abi in the movie, he in real life helped give me confidence, helped me believe in myself. And kind of relax. I was really uptight. He taught me how to like relax and breathe and like not take myself so serious all the time. So I really appreciate him. I bring it up a lot. He's not in the movie, but I had a friend, he passed away too. His name's Pete Bensavanga. He exposed me to off-season wrestling and mixed martial arts, and my coach Jeremy, and like I have a lot of people that helped me. So I'm very appreciative to have had such a wonderful crew of people around me to help me and keep me motivated. But at the end of the day, you do need help, but it really comes down to you, because people aren't going to help you if you're not motivated yourself. People won't work harder for you than you work for yourself. So it was my responsibility to give them something to believe in and give them something to support.
Yeah, that's great. Wow. So I was looking over your career and I found it really interesting. The span of your career, you're 16-4. And the interesting thing is I think about, let's see, you had 13 wins via submission. You have 2 knockouts, one by knee and one by just, punches. And then 7 of those fights 3 went to, judge's decision, and 3 went to, losses, wins and losses. And then you've only been knocked out once. And it was against Justin Gaethje. And when you look back on your career and the whole overview of it, how do you see yourself moving forward as, this professional fighter in a top-notch promotion? You're in Bellator. What's next for you? Because your last 2 losses were just recently, and they were by, like it was judge's decision, where in the past you've had, you're a finisher. You're a total finisher. And how do you see moving forward, and what's next for you?
Yeah, I feel like I won my last 2 fights, split decisions, and I felt like 2 fights ago I won the first and second round and kind of faded in the third round, and I learned to kind of compose myself a little bit better because I was used to finishing all these fights really quick. And my last fight, I won the first and third round, no doubt, and it's on YouTube. You can rewatch it anytime. But I try not to get too harped up on that and let it affect me and take away from all the positive things that happen in my life and things that I have going on and all the great things that I've done and experiences I've had. So, I've had a pretty good career, and I've always been out and strive to be the best version of myself that I can be, and always give it 100% of myself and be invested in progress. So I'm very grateful to have had the experiences I've had and have the people around me and real people that really care about me. And it's great. And I'm glad I get to have my story captured in a feature film.
Yeah, right. Wow. What do you attribute to your success? Like maybe 3 key ingredients to your success. I mean, it might have been in another interview that I had listened to. You had stated something to the effect that, I took the long road. It's taken me 10 years to get here, while other fighters that, may have been up and coming, you were on some of the same cards back here in New England at Cage Titans, some of those guys, and they're in top promotions too. There's a few of them that I can think of off the top of my head, like Rob Font and who's the other guy? Rico DeSulo. They've been on top notch, promotions. What were 3 maybe ingredients that have attributed to your success as an MMA fighter, something that you consistently do, a habit of some kind?
Well, the fact that my first year I started off wrestling, I lost my first 17 matches and ended up going 2-22. And then I still had fun with it for some reason, even though I was getting destroyed. Once I got that first win, I was like, I need more of this in my life. Yeah. And yeah, I ended my season. If you discount those first, 17 matches, I finished 2-5, which is okay. And then the whole off season, I trained while everyone else was taking a break. And I came back and I was beating people. And I was like, well, man, this guy must not be very good. And then I started beating more and more people and winning more and more matches. And then all of a sudden I was expected to win. I had a winning record from then on out. And I was like, okay, this taught me the value of hard work. And the lesson that I can give to people is that the best people aren't always training because they're the best. They're the best because they're always training. And when you want something, you have to dedicate yourself to it. You have to fall into it. And not only do you have to spend the time, but you have to make the most of your time while you're there and really be dedicated to progress and be honest with yourself.
Yeah. So you've evolved over the course of those 10 years quite considerably. I think you started off on a tear for sure. And then what were those losses to you? We always learn from our, a loss or some sort of failure. And you not only had losses in the cage, you had them externally with the deaths of some very dear friends. And how do you think that has shaped and molded you as an MMA fighter?
A lot of life is how you deal with it. A big percentage of life is how you deal with it. And I've tried to learn to take the positives from all situations and things that are out of your control that you can't change. You have to accept. And the things that you can change, you have to do what you can to make sure that you do right, and you right yourself, and you fix these things so you can be successful. So I'm glad that I've had trials and tribulations. Obviously, I would give anything to have my friends back and have them back in my life and get to see where I am now. You know, so there's no replacing that.
Yeah.
But it certainly built some character in me.
So what is this? What is this?
What's what?
After every fight.
Oh no, that's just like a little joke, like get the dirt off your shoulder.
What's that mean? Get the dirt off your shoulder.
Yeah, it's just like whatever, like it's just like a little just a little joke I had going with my friends.
I mean, you've been doing it for a while. I was like, okay, what's that little, like, you know, we all have our little things. I know there was some other fighters that would point and they would do something after every fight, and it always had some sort of meaning or whatever. It's just a cool little thing. I was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, I did it once. And then the guy, all my friends were like, you gotta make that your thing. So I'm like, if I remember to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I like it. I like that. It's nice. All right. So, have you had any challenges with dealing with fear, and what would they be?
I'm scared. I'm scared every time I fight. I've never not been scared, but it's called dealing with it and overcoming your fears and not letting them consume you.
So you have this great movie coming out. You've accomplished a lot already. What do you see, you know, maybe in the next 3 years? What are your future goals?
I have a few side projects I'm working on that people will hear about soon. But in the meantime, I want everyone to rent or buy my movie anywhere or buy movies and go watch this movie. Notorious Nick. It's everywhere. Watch it, enjoy, tweet me about it, Instagram it, do whatever you can, and support me. It's been a long, hard road, but they came out with a great product, and I can't wait for everyone to see it.
I want to thank Nick, for coming onto the show. Nick, I'd really like to follow up with you, say in a couple of months after this premiere has been out. Are you and your wife going to be walking a red carpet at all, or?
No.
No red carpet for this?
Yeah, if anything, we're just chasing around our children trying to make.
I know. I heard on a thing, am I swearing too much? I got to stop cussing. I'm a dad. You have 2 beautiful children. Oh my God, they're gorgeous.
Thank you.
Your wife and everything, all excited about this, premiere and everything launching tomorrow?
Yeah, she's excited to see it. She hasn't seen it yet. I didn't let her see it when I watched it first.
Have you seen it yet at all, or you just seen?
Yeah. No, of course I did. It's okay. A great movie, okay. And I gotta wrap it up. So thank you so much for being on the show. I'd love to have you back, and where we could spend a little more time, because I'd like to get into your overall success. I have a gazillion more questions for you, but I know you're on a time schedule. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And I wish you the best in this new movie and its success. I'm sure it'll end up on the top 25 with Rocky being up there. Notorious Nick. So if you're looking for a good movie to watch this weekend, check it out. Notorious Nick. It opens August 6th. Any other shout outs you'd like to give, Nick? No, thank you. No.
You're done. All right. Awesome. Thanks so much, Nick. We'll see you soon.
Okay. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed hearing from Nick Newell, and thank him for being on the show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a review. It helps people find the show. And on the review, mention Notorious Nick and how he inspired or motivated you. If you are eager to hear more from Evolve WMMA, never miss an episode by remembering to subscribe and download on iTunes. Or if you prefer to watch, you can find a new episode on YouTube at Evolve Women's MMA. That's it for this episode. If you want to connect with Shelley and other like-minded people who also listen to the show, then head on over to our fan page on Facebook.com/ILoveWMMA. See you there. Until next time, keep evolving. Thanks for listening.